Snackies. Here I am with another Rebirth toy review, and this time it's a fan favorite, the Ariel Ambush Quetzalcoatlus. While some Rebirth designs had us hooked from the start, and some took some time to get used to, the Rebirth Quetz is one of the few where I'm still not completely sold on the new head, especially with how good the previous Quetzal looked. And while the toy only really differs from the movie variant with colors, I was still really excited for this toy for multiple reasons. The main reason being that this is an Azdarkid that is sizable, can fly, but can also stand. I can't express I can't express how mind-breaking that is that we actually have an Azdarkid that can do this. No, actually, that we have a Terasaur toy that can do this. Very few Terasaur toys manage to pull off both stances. In fact, let's mix up the formula and jump into a few comparisons to start the video. Here's some previous Terasaur toys that are worth comparing to the Quetzal, starting with the Dimorphodon, which is actually one of the more underrated toys. Because for the longest time, this was the only pterosaur that could pull off a flying and standing position. Like, for being one of the cheapest dinosaur toys in the Jurassic franchise, there's a lot to compliment with this, as it has the perfect amount of articulated joints to just make it a lot of fun to pose and play with. Next up we have the Pteranodon, and I gotta be honest, I never liked this one. Get out of here. Now let's compare it to the previous Quetzalcoatlus. Actually, this is the first one. The previous one was in Dominion, but it wasn't that much of an upgrade compared to this one. I mean, paint-wise and sculpt-wise it was better because this one is definitely dated, but I wasn't gonna spend money on a slightly cooler-looking Quetzal that has relatively the same amounts of articulation and is only stuck flying and can't stand properly. And our last Terasaur comparison is the Geosternbergia. Now, being a Hammond collection, on paper this should be better than the Dimorphodon, as it has more articulation, bendable wings, but unfortunately, since the wings are made of a very bendable plastic material, they kinda get in the way and make it hard to get a proper pterosaur stance. It's very close to getting to that position, but not quite. And folding the wings back into flying position can result in these awkward creases in the wings as well, so not perfect, but still good. Now that I've finished my lesson in Terasaur toy history, let's go into why the Ariel Ambush Quetz is the best Terasaur toy. For now, starting off with the head, which is not my favorite Quetz head. The colors make it a lot more tolerable, but I'm still not vibing with it as much as the Dominion Quetz head. However, Jurassic has always given us multiple variants of the same species throughout different movies, so why do they have to stop now? After all, the theme of Rebirth is beta design, so I guess we should let them go a little wild with these designs. It makes more sense than why the Giga looked the way it did when it's supposed to be paleo-accurate. Now, the head is poseable, but only slightly, not the most poseable of heads. Probably because it's attached to an action feature. Press the top button, and it lets out these wonderful bird-like calls. Furthermore, look at the detail on that tongue. That is beautifully sculpted, down to the neck, which is one of the low points of this figure, as it's supposed to be poseable, but it's so stiff that it's near impossible to move it without fear of breaking it. And even if you could move it, it only moves up and down. You can't move it left and right. But let's move on to the wings for a second. Remember the weakness of the Geosternbergia I mentioned? Well, the Quetz completely solves it, as instead of plastic wings, it has fabric wings. Not only is this perfect to provide the right amount of thinness for a pterosaur wing, but it also fixes the folding problem of the Geosternbergia. allowing for a natural-looking fold in the wing. It also means that when this thing is held up to the sun, you can still see through the wings. That's perfect. That's great. There's also poseability on the hand, which is really nice, as it means that whether the thing is flying or walking, you can put the hand in a natural position. No tail articulation, but it's tiny, so who cares? It's the legs that are important in this situation. Not only do they swivel back and forth, which contributes to the walking poses, but the feetsies are also posable. Like, for real, they didn't have to put the poseability on the feet and save that for a Hammond Collection release, but they added it to just make it, again, more natural for the transition between walking and flying. And getting it into walking position isn't even that hard. All you have to do is push the arms down and boom, it's standing there, menacingly. And with the push of the second button, the wings unfold and off it goes. Now then, I was lucky to get a copy with very strong spring locks. However, we've seen a couple reviews where the spring locks are weaker on other individuals. Furthermore, these spring locks could potentially get weaker with age. So playing with it a lot will eventually result in a Quetzal that's just like every other Terasaur toy, stuck in flying position. I'd also advise caution about where you display this thing if you already have one with weak springs, as if they give way while it's next to a bunch of other toys, well, he's taking everyone out with him. But now let's do some comparisons with other toys like Hammond Collection Ghost, Jack Black, and Anna Super Alpha Rajasaurus. I gotta say, it's just real nice to have a decently sized Quetzalcoatlus. Finishing off the size comparisons, we have the usual cast: Brio Thomas, Golden Thomas, Ultimate Valtryek, and Molly McGee. So wrapping up my thoughts on this Quetzalcoatlus toy, it is almost perfect. Putting aside my thoughts on the head sculpt, I'd say that there is a lot of positives with this toy. The paint apps are nice, the playability is fantastic, the engineering on the wings are just top tier, and yet, it's not quite there yet. As I said earlier, the spring locks will eventually die, and this thing will be stuck flying forever. And while this does have a lot of posability with the hands and the legs and the feet, the head area is not the best articulated. It's just enough to get the transition between looking down when it's standing and looking up when it's flying. But all of these issues could very easily be fixed when we eventually get a Hammond Collection Quetzalcoatlus, and that's kinda why I love this Quetzal toy. It's basically a pseudo Hammond Collection. It's like one step away from there. The perfect Hammond Collection Quetz would be the head and neck articulation of the Geosternbergia, combined with all the best features of this Quetz. Keywords, fabric, wings. That's the way to go with these future Terasaur releases. But for now, we have a toy that every kid is going to want on their shelf. So, should you pick this up? I'd say, yeah, it's worth it. Or you could be patient and wait for a Hammond Collection one to advance the engineering even further. Especially if you only want one Quetz and you want the best Quetz, then wait for a Hammond Collection Dominion Quetz, because if we combine that engineering onto that, that will be the perfect Quetz toy. But what do I know? I'm just some random lizard on the internet. Goodbye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video from beginning to end. If you want to see more, subscribe to the channel and join the Zainreborn community. See you in the next one. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.